First, the highlights. The Governor Sanwo-Olu distances Lagos State from proposed Igbo must go protest, sues for peace. African Development Bank Group approves $500 million loan for Nigeria's electricity. On quarantine, U.S. scraps plea deal with plotters of 9/11 attack. And in sport, coach of the Tigress pledges better outcome with team against Canada. And now the details. I am Mike James. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says his attention has been drawn to a post by Lagospedia, a social media handle on X that calls on the Igbo to vacate Lagos and southwest of Nigeria and brace up for a massive #Igbo must go protest from August 20 to 30. In a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Kwasile, the governor distances the state and his administration from the reckless, divisive and dangerous rhetoric, saying Lagos remains home to every Nigerian citizen, regardless of their ethnic nationality. Governor Sanwo-Olu appealed to Lagosians not to allow any person or group of individuals to create tensions in the state, calling on the security agencies to promptly investigate those behind the handle and bring them to justice. Also, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has hailed residents of the state for their peaceful disposition to the nationwide hunger and hardship protest. In a statement by Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, the governor said it was also noticed that the slowdown of business in some parts of the state, perhaps because of the fear that hooligans and architects of anarchy might endanger the state harmony. Omotosho explained that by the conduct of Thursday's protest, Lagosians have chosen to embrace peace and shun the path of destruction, while expressing their views and constitutional rights to protest. He noted that the message of the protest, hunger in the land, has also been well noted, but it is important to reiterate that the federal government is taking steps to reverse the situation. At the state level, the commissioner noted that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has promised that the popular Sunday market will return with its 25% discount on all major food items, while the medical outreach, which offers thousands of people treatment free of any charge, will also return. Omotosho also hailed the professional conduct of all security agencies, community leaders, religious leaders, resident associations, and others who ensured that peace was not compromised in the state. And while enjoining Lagosians to go about their business without any fear, he added that the state government will continue to engage all stakeholders to ensure that Lagos State remains peaceful and a beacon of hope for all. In the same vein, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has described the peace experience in the state amid a nationwide protest as commendable. Obasa, who applauded the peaceful conduct of the protesters in Lagos, the southwest region, and major parts of Nigeria, specifically praised citizens for hearkening to the voice of reason and wisdom. The Speaker observed that the protesters mostly carried out their actions in accordance with the law, allowing residents to go about their activities in peace. The Speaker noted that apart from touching every part of the state, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration has continued to implement strategies to reduce hunger, especially with the Sunday markets, where there is a 25% discount on all major food items and which will soon be reviewed. Obasa assured that the House would not only collaborate with the executive arm to ensure that residents keep enjoying the administration, the legislative arm would continue to stand as a beacon of hope to the people of Lagos. The Speaker, who thanked law enforcement agents in the state for conducting themselves professionally in the maintenance of law and order, also praised religious leaders, traditional and community heads, development and related associations, market leaders, and artisans for their understanding and support of the government. And now to the rest of the stories. The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved a loan of $500 million to the federal government to finance the first phase of the Economic Governance and Energy Transition Support Program, EGET-SP. The program is targeted at accelerating transformation of the country's electricity infrastructure and improving access to cleaner sources of energy. The loan will help close the financing gap of the federal budget in the 2024-25 fiscal year, specifically supporting the implementation of the country's new Electricity Act and the Nigeria Energy Transition Plan. The government launched the Energy Transition Plan in August 2022 and in June 2023 passed the new Electricity Act, decentralizing the electricity supply industry and setting the stage for increased investments by subnational government and the private sector. The Energy Transition Plan envisions the development by 2050 of 250 gigawatts of installed electricity capacity, 90% of which will be renewable. It will provide clean cooking access to the bulk of the population by 2030 using liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, biogas, biofuels like ethanol and electric cook stoves. The Nigeria Labour Congress says penchant for wealth by the state governors is responsible for their unreadiness to pay the new minimum wage. The NLC said the state governors have no excuse not to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage. According to the NLC, if the governors can pay themselves the same amount of salaries, it is a must for every one of them to pay the new wage. The National Treasurer of the NLC, Hakeem Ambali, who made the call, says it is an act of wickedness for the governor to say he couldn't pay the minimum wage. Ambali chided Gombe State Governor Muhammad Inua for declaring that the state couldn't pay the new wage. The National Treasurer of the NLC called on Nigerians, especially those protesting against bad governance, to challenge their various state governors how they are managing the increased allocation from the federal government. And in some foreign news, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked a pre-trial agreement reached with men accused of plotting 11 September 2001 terrorist attacks. The original deal, which would reportedly have spared the alleged attackers the death penalty, was criticized by some families of victims. The 9/11 attacks in New York, Virginia, and Pennsylvania were the deadliest assault on U.S. soil since the 1941 Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, where 2,400 people were killed. The men had reportedly sought a guarantee from the president that they would not be kept in solitary confinement and would have access to trauma treatment. Several Republicans applauded the defense secretary for revoking the deal. And in some sports news, coach of the Tigers, Reina Wakama, has assured Nigerians that they would see an improved basketball side against Canada in the deciding Paris 2024 Olympic Games last Group B encounter in Lille, France. The Nigeria's women's basketball team defeated Australia 75 to 62 points, but they were second best against the host France. In a game, they lost 75 to 54 points. Despite moments of brilliance by coach Wakama's girls, the French team were overpowering as they held on to their lead to win. Wakama praised the players' fighting power, grit and determination, but thumbed up the French team that proved to be better throughout the game. Nigeria will face Canada, who have been beaten twice already by France and Australia in Group B on Sunday in Lille. The Tigress are chosen to become the first African nation to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Olympic Games barely a few days after becoming the first African women's team to secure a group stage win at the Olympic Games. And that was our news at 10, but just before we go, slow down at road junctions, intersections and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, on Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration initiated 500 hectares rice farm technology intervention project? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has distanced the state and his administration from a post by Lagospedia, a social media handle on X that calls on the Igbo to vacate Lagos and southwest of Nigeria and brace up for a massive hashtag Igbo must go protest from August 20 to 30. The board of directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved a loan of $500 million to the federal government to finance the first phase of the Economic Governance and Energy Transition Support Program. We also told you that U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked a pre-trial agreement reached with men accused of plotting the 11 September 2001 terrorist attack. And in sports, coach of the Tigress, Rena Wakama, has assured Nigerians that they would see an improved basketball side against Canada in a deciding Paris 2024 Olympic Games last Group B encounter in Lille, France. And for contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Kayode Mafalashiri. Thank you for listening, Lagos. My name is Mike James. Good morning.